All right, so for this fifth lesson, what we're going to be looking at, it's called Andy Warhol. It's a Warhol project. He was an artist, and there is a brief introduction here. I really highly suggest you watch the video. He has one of his one of his most famous artwork, art pieces is Campbell soup. He painted Campbell soup cans, and he had a whole bunch of them. And so that's one of the things that he's known for. But the thing that we're going to do today is something else that he's known for as well. And so this introduction takes about 7 or 10 minutes or something like that, but it's very informational on Andy and his history and the art that he developed and created and what it looks like. The tutorial, when you click on the tutorial, this is the one I'm going to be following for this video. And when you open it up, eventually it should look like this, and you're going to find this image, which is a football player, and I'm going to walk through this project. Each square, I'm going to start here, I'm going to go over to this one, I'm going to go down to this one and this one. My suggestion during this process is that just like you would have to read a square and flip over to Photoshop and do the work and then come back again, because this is a video, I would pause at various points along here, and if you need to, go back a little bit and listen to it again. That way you understand exactly what's going on in this project. It's very easy to follow along with the pictures. It should look very similar to what this picture looks like as we're going. And this part of the project is only part 1, and I'll explain part 2 at the end of the video. So in this project, we're going to be using this image, and you can right click or 2-finger click or control click, whatever you want to do, but however you get it, you want to save it to your multimedia folder, and you're going to choose the multimedia folder. And I'm going to choose Warhol Football. It's just going to save it inside there. And then I can come over to Photoshop. And I'm not going to flip back and forth between Photoshop and Safari. I'm going to use the copy that I have on my iPad in front of me. So you might have to flip back and forth or hit pause and come over to Photoshop to do some of the stuff. So you can click Open. We're not going to create a new file because we want to open an existing one. So it says once you have the Warhol clicked and open, inside of Photoshop, we want to do one thing before we start. We want to come up here to Window at the very top, and you're going to go down to Workspace, and it should say Essentials Default. And if your background does not look like this, where you have your tools over here, you have your color, your layers, all that stuff, if it does not look like that or you're missing some things, you can always go to Workspace and then Reset Essentials, and that's the desktop that we are using. It's called the Essentials desktop, and what that'll do is let us have it set up just like it is right now. So I hit Reset, and then it should look like this. And if you have the Learning tab here, not layers, but if you have one that's called Learn, it should look like this, Learn Libraries and Adjustments. You can click the lines over here and close this tab group. It just gives you a little more space on the desktop. I'm going to hold Alt and do a 2-finger swipe up, so I'm zoomed in a little bit. And this says the medium should be a medium to close-up shot. I'm going to go up to the top menus, way up here at the top, and I'm going to click on Image. I'm going to go to Adjustments, and I'm going to go down to Threshold, which is right there. And there's a picture on the tutorial as well to show you what to click on. Click on Threshold. It's going to turn it black and white. And what I want to do is drag this slider to a point that I think it looks good, where we have a nice mark where you can still see things in here. You want to have the image lightened to show some detail, but not so light that it washes everything out. like this does not do a very good job. Something in that 90 range seems to be pretty good. So I'm going to hit 90. And the number will change based on the image that you use. There's not an exact number. It's pretty much whatever you think looks good. Try and get that. I want to get that black stripe. But that washes out a little bit too much. So I was trying to get this a little bit more full. So I might do that. And that loses some shoulder pad. There we go. I'm just going to stop right there. So you can see the three. You can see the lines out here in the background and everything. But I want to see, the goal is to see the face. So somewhere around that 90, that works. And I changed my mind. I'm using a paper copy instead of my iPad. So if you hear that turning, that's what that is. Now that I have that selected and I pressed OK, that locks that part in there. I want to choose the magic wand tool, the letter W, and if I click over here, you'll see that this one has a magic wand, or you might see something else in here as well. But I want to click on this tool. It's underneath the polygon lasso tool. I'm going to click on magic wand tool, and I want to click on any solid white area. It could be any of these areas in here. So I click on that, and you'll see the ants marching around this selection. And then while I have this selected, what I want to do is come up here to the top. There is a menu button, a menu item up here at the top that says select. I click on that, and I want to go down to similar. What that'll do is that'll select everything. Because there's only black and white, there's no grayscale, it's going to select everything that's white. And then from the swatches window over here, not there, the color, there we go. I can choose a color. Now I choose something bright and vibrant, and I believe in the example they choose green. I'm looking at a black and white copy, so I don't know. But I'm going to choose green. No, I'm going to choose yellow. But you could choose, let's do this one, indecisive. This is going to become the color of your person, so it's going to be the blue right here is going to, it's going to turn this white area blue. So then it says click on the double curved arrow just above the color boxes and swap the foreground and background, which is this one right down here in the corner. And when I click on it, it's going to swap those. You'll see that now blue is on the bottom and black is on the top. And when I choose a different color, in this case I want to choose some kind of a bright yellow, I think that'll look nice. And then I want to swap those colors back. So now you can see that I have the blue is the top and the yellow is the bottom. Okay, there it says in any case my yellow will be my person and green will be my background. So I have it just the opposite with some different colors, but this will work too. I'm going to press the Alt or Option key. It doesn't say Alt on here anymore. It's the Option key, and press Delete, and it should fill the foreground color, this right here, around anything that was white before. So that's what it should look like. To deselect, you'll see that there are ants marching in here. And just a reminder, I would pause right there, go over and do these skills, practice these skills, make sure you can do up to this point. If you have to, rewind a little bit. So I want to deselect or turn the marching ants off. I'm going to hold Command and press D, and then I'm going to press the E key on the keyboard, or I can click on Eraser over here. It's the same thing. So now I have the eraser selected. You'll see that my paintbrush is way too big. Way too big. I want to choose a brush that is easy to get around some of the smaller areas, but I also want it to be a hard, solid brush. So it's going to be a 100% hardness and hard round. I think this is the hard pressure size. I'm going to do just hard round brush. And let's see what that looks like. Maybe a touch more smaller. There we go. Something like that. So what I want to do here is I'm going to use the eraser tool to outline the person and erase out the background. And you might have to adjust your brush size a couple times in here. But basically what I want to do is follow where the helmet would have gone. Come down here to the shoulder pad and work my way around. And just in case you make a mistake, I would let go of the mouse every once in a while, or the touchpad every once in a while, because if I go too far, then when I hit undo, it undoes everything. So I want to do this in short strokes. So if I was painting on a canvas, I would do a little bit and then I'd stop, and then I'd do a little bit more and I'd stop. So if I have to undo something, I don't undo everything. Because if I do like all this, and I just need to, I was like, oh shoot, I just want to leave that part right there. If I hit undo, it's going to take everything away. So I want to make sure we're being aware of that part. Come over here around the helmet. See, I have about a size 20 brush. There it is on the top of the shoulder pad there. It's okay if you cut in a little bit, you erase some of the detail. We just want to make sure that most of that detail is still available. So now that I have them outlined, I might even make this smaller. Go down to the 10 range, the 9 range, because I want to make sure I get in here. There's a spot right there. I want to go around. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to make this big, because now it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure I get rid of all the background. That's the goal here, is to get rid of everything back here. There it is. That cut them out. You'll see right there. I actually might use, because we've looked at it before, the art history brush. And I'm going to click right. Oh man, that's blue. That's not cool. I guess I'm leaving it. I was going to try and get this little bit right through here. I was going to try and get that back, but that's all right. So now that I have the background is the yellow and my foreground is this blue teal color, I'm going to double click on the background layer in the layers window to unlock it. And so I'm going to come over here where it says background. I'm going to double click, and what that does is that unlocks it. I want to call this layer 1, just because layer 0 is kind of confusing. So I'm going to click OK. You can see that that takes the little lock off of this, and it gives me the ability to edit this, this layer. And I'm going to right click on the blue bar of the one layer in the layers palette. So I'm going to come over here. So this one right here, it's not blue highlighted. In a previous version it was. It's just gray. I want to do a right click or 2-finger click on there. Basically what I want to do is create a second copy of this layer. And it's going to say layer 1 copy. I'm going to rename this one layer 2 and click OK. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to 2-finger click or control click or right click, whatever. Duplicate this layer. I'm going to call this one layer 3. So you'll see that I have 3 layers. They're all the exact same. Very easy here. Now that I have 3 layers, I want to go to image, which is way up here at the top again. I'm going to go down to canvas size. Click on that. And if you notice where it says inches here, I can change it to percent. There's two ways of doing this. This is probably the easiest. If I click on percent, you can see that it's 100%, which means that it's 100% of whatever the original size was. If I want it to be 3 times that size, I want to make my width 3 times bigger, so I'm going to use 300% this way. So it's going to keep the same distance this way, it's just going to do it 300% wider left and right. So when I do that, click OK, you'll see that I get some gray and white transparency check marks here on the, or checkerboard on the side. That basically means that that's invisible, but you'll notice that when I go from this to this, it does a little bit wider, and you can see that all 3 layers have been adjusted. So now it's 3 times the original size. So I'm going to Option and then swipe down with 2 fingers, and it's going to bring it out so I'm looking at the entire image. If I go too far, I can always bring it back in. There we go. Now I'm going to click on the layer name 3 in the palette. You can see on the tutorial it just has the number 3. I left layer 3 because I did. And I'm going to click on that one to make it active. You can tell which one the active one is because it has a lighter gray bar on it. I'm going to use my move arrow. It's the V tool, the move tool, and you can see that it has these squares on mine around the outside. If yours does not have that, you can check this box, and what that does is that allows you to transform it. And in other projects we'll do things like this where we resize projects, but if you press escape it goes back to the original. Anyway, transform controls just give you the ability to move things around, height, width, angles, all that fun stuff. So not important right now, but you can use an arrow key to move it over, or you can click and drag, and you'll see that our guides, the little pink lines that show up, those are trying to keep things right together. So it kind of snaps and pops into place there. I want to make sure it does that. And so I don't have any border around the outside now. It's just the image. So when I click on layer 2, I'm going to bring layer 2. I guess they have number 1. So there's layer 1. When I click on it, it tells me that I grabbed number 2 anyway because it's the top one. But so now I have 3 pictures of this football guy next to each other. And in the layer palette window, it should look like a staircase. Actually, this one looks kind of funky because it has one on the left, one on the right, one in the middle, and that's fine. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to change the background color on 2 of these 3 layers. So to do that, what I want to do is click on the layer you want to change, which is, in this case I'm going to do layer 2, which is this side. I'm going to click on the magic wand, and I'm going to click on the color, and you'll see that it outlines everything. If I happen to click in the wrong location, it's going to select the entire square, which that means I know that I'm on the wrong layer. So layer 2, you can see it's on the right hand side. If I click on this yellow, it's going to select the yellow. I'm going to come up here to the top and do select similar. And then what I want to do here is choose a different color. In this case, I'm going to choose blue and do an Option delete. And then I'll click here on this part, select similar. And I'm going to go up here to the top, choose a new color. There we go, something like that. Option delete. And then I'm going to click on layer 3. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to click on here, do a lime green, Option delete. Click on the blue for the helmet there. I'm going to select similar. So I'm going to turn red. There we go, Option delete. So we have Command D will deselect. And now you can see that I have 3 different pictures, and this is something that Andy Warhol is famous for. This is one of his art pieces that is very, very well known. So we just chose to use a football player to do that. So once you get this done, I want you to make sure that you save it as your last name, your first initial, and then Warhol. And so in this case, what I'm going to do, in my case, I'll do save the project to begin with, and you'll see that it says, I'm going to say Miller-Warhol. And Miller B, there we go. And I want to actually, on this one, I'm going to call it Warhol 1. because there are two parts to this project. So Warhol 1 will get saved, and then I'm going to go here and I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm going to change it to a JPEG file, because this is the file that we turn in, Miller B Warhol1.jpg or JPEG. This is the file that gets turned into our Schoology account. Hit save. Now, the second part of this project is you're going to find a picture of yourself, and you're going to follow the exact same steps. And so this picture is of a football player, but I want you to find a picture of you. It could be a school picture, it could be a summertime picture, it could be anything that is school appropriate, of course. And you're going to find yourself, take your picture, follow this from the beginning of the tutorial again, and this time modify it so you have 3 pictures of yourself with these various colors. The black print, and then the 2 different colors for the whiter colors in the image. So that is the process for this project. And then when you get done with your picture, you're going to save it as your last name and then Warhol 2, and you'll turn that one in as well. So this project for the Andy Warhol tutorial, this has 2 parts, and you need to turn both of those in to earn full credit on this assignment. If you have any questions, please let me know.